Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, well, welcome to the last week of November 2021. It's been an exciting month of changes for our family and a lot of people. I know we lost one of our favorite team members, Greg, who's watching everything from heaven and helping us, in my opinion. Every time I think we have some good developments, I think Greg's helping. So I know he's still here with us. And I know that other people are going through changes too, and my heart goes out to you guys. God really loves each one of us.
Amen.
Does anybody feel called to say a prayer this morning?
I will.
Okay, thank you.
Our Father in heaven, we thank Thee for the opportunity we've taken to meet together, to study, to learn how to become state nationals, to learn how to make a difference in this naughty world. And we ask Thy blessings upon us, that we may be receptive, that we may understand the things we're being taught, and learn how to apply them in our lives. Wilt Thou please watch over our many loved ones, those who are grieving, those who are struggling with this COVID stuff, those who have yet not seen the light of what our Constitution offers. Help us to share the word with them, that they may come to recognize what we have and are losing, that we can stand up and protect it. We pray for Thy Spirit to be with us this day. In the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much for that beautiful prayer. My heart is full today, both on the magnitude of the evil that's happening, but also the love and the grace and the wisdom of God, that we are the lighthouses, that we're meant to be lighthouses during this incredible time, and we can actually be happy about it. I don't know why I started crying so much, but there's some lights amidst the darkness. And
Spirit does that.
yeah. Anyway, thank you. I got some tissue now. If you're not muted, please mute yourself unless you have a question. Again, I just want to share some positive things because my heart has been heavy by the amount of
recording in progress.
One thing that my family and I did is we went to the Spiral Jetty was it Wednesday? It was Wednesday. Now that my husband's not working, we can just pick up and go. So the Spiral Jetty is a place that's about a couple-hour drive from Ogden, and it's a place where the Salt Lake shores used to be. Now that the water's receding, it's a little bit more dry. But you can find in the clay soil, in the wetter parts of the clay soil, these lovely selenite crystals with clay occlusions. If you guys want to touch them, they're a little bit brittle. But the selenite crystals are an angelic vibration that you can use just to grid your homes and properties. If the Spirit is teaching you that that's one thing you can do, and always use Yeshua, Jesus Christ's energy. But that's one thing that we enjoyed digging up in the clay, and it's fun for kids because they like digging in the dirt too, and I liked it. It can be really healing and grounding to get in the soil when you're going through a lot of grief. So if you guys want to touch them, you're welcome to.
See, I was right. If you held them like this and hung, you'd have peace.
Yeah, so we, yes, you're correct. So we dug up about maybe 30 pounds worth, or maybe, was it about 20, maybe 20
How long did it
pounds
take
worth.
you to dig them up?
Couple hours, just a couple hours. There's a guy that has a YouTube video on how you dig them up and stuff. I'll send out
Shovel,
pictures.
maybe?
Yeah, shovel. Yep, we use shovels, and I'll send pictures on social media about that because it was fun doing.
What's inside?
Inside is the clay occlusions, the actual clay from the beds of the Great Salt Lake.
Is it the salt that crystallizes, or what is the?
Well, it turns into selenite because of a rather fun process where the clay and the sunlight and the salt all work together, and the crystals actually grow. There's so many of them actually. So if you find a darker place, and so there's lighter areas where you're walking, and then there's darker, muddier areas, and those darker, muddier areas are the areas you want to dig into. We'll go on a field trip sometime.
That's a good
You
idea.
can get
I
some
would love
selenite.
that.
Where
I
you
love
just
that. That's very interesting.
dig it up, and
Yeah,
then you
I'm sure
see
I
like
can do that.
20 of them in the hole, and you're like, this is fun.
And
So,
where was this again?
this was Spiral Jetty. It's a couple-hour
I've never heard
drive
of it.
north of Ogden. It's in Box Elder County, so the shores of the Great Salt Lake.
Just past the Golden Spike
Wow.
Golden Spike, is it
That,
National Historic Park.
the National Historic Park?
well, if anyone breaks into your house, you can kill them with this.
You want to touch one, Rix?
I did.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah.
Well,
be
not
careful.
now you broke the tip.
Yeah, you have to be careful. They're kind
I
of
did.
fragile. I hope everybody got to commune with their loved ones and or family this holiday, Thanksgiving. I know that was one thing that helped our hearts be happier too. And anyway, so we have a lot of fun topics to talk about today. To be honest, these topics are the most challenging for me. And it could just because there's so much muddy energy attached to these areas from the dark forces onto the money and onto the, the taxing systems here. It's actually the most unfair and unjust thing that we as humanity, I think, encounter in our experiences here, in my opinion. So the sword of the Spirit is what we need to rely on. Now, I'm really grateful that I found a pot of gold, figuratively, this
Talking
week.
about Jay?
Well, he is my pot of gold.
And it's not
That's
the
a
selenite
secret.
that we dug up either.
That's Victoria's Secret. But anyway, I found a figurative pot of gold this week when I came across somebody in the Affidavits 101 YouTube group or Telegram group posted a video of this guy named Bill. What's his name? I don't know his last name, but it's on one of his. Anyway, this YouTube channel is a figurative pot of gold, you guys. He has a way of articulating things that bring a lucid understanding to these topics. Because I was a little worried. I'm like, I am not going to be the one to articulate these topics very well this week. But I'm definitely happy to learn about them. So this YouTube channel is called I'm a Free Man, and it's IMMA Free Man. Free Man is FREEMAN. So I'm a free man. So Ima is with 2 M's. I'm a free man. Okay, and that is a rich resource of study. I've really enjoyed watching his videos, and it's actually an answer to my prayer on some of the things about the mortgage fraud that me and Jay are facing a fight with. But when I say fight, I should say more like we get to go to court and enforce the sovereign's orders. So, but it's giving me hope, because I wasn't sure how I was going to proceed with upholding our rights, with creating these new channels, and how do I put this? Just really enforcing our rights of we paid off our debt with real silver. This is the way the Constitution works, and there are other court cases that have this and that they won in, and now I know that thanks to this channel. So I can feel more hopeful. So before we start with watching a couple of his videos on both the IRS and money and mortgage fraud, I want to share a book that I recommend that everybody get. It's only about, it's less than $10. I'm pretty sure I bought it for less than $10. It's called The Barron's Business Guide. The publisher is Barron's Business Guide, but it's the dictionary of banking terms. So if you think in the future you may have any dealings in court with this topic, you will want to have a good dictionary. And the man who recommended this, his name, he goes by the moniker Quasimodo. So that is how I learned about this book. And as you can see, I've been looking up terms like what they say money is, mortgage fraud, securitization, other things like that. So, yeah, go ahead. And of course, this week, we've been studying Fruit from a Poisonous Tree. Has anybody actually been reading that book? That
We're about halfway through.
you're about halfway through?
I don't think we're that far yet.
Yeah.
Oh, we could be positive.
The first part of the book is horrendous, meaning it's really exposing the evil, the corruption in the system. And then Carolyn has a comment. Let's see. Do you want to? Does it say Victoria?
Post the link to I'm a
Post
Freeman.
the
I'm trying
link.
to find it on Telegram.
Okay, it's not Telegram. It's actually YouTube. It's a YouTube. Sure, I can do that. Let's see, Telegram.
I've got one.
I'll post it on Telegram, the YouTube link right now, on my Law Friends channel. So just so you know. There. Great channel. Okay.
Barnes and Noble,
There we
that
go.
dictionary of banking terms is about $15.
Okay. You could try Amazon too if you're not if you're not object to
You won't go to
buying from
Amazon
them.
anymore.
I fired
Yeah.
Amazon.
I only do it for books.
It qualifies for free shipping, so
Some of them you can only get on Amazon. A lot of these
That's true.
publishers are just
Yeah, I don't know why.
Mm,
choosing
They
to
make
only
no
do
money.
it. Yeah.
yeah.
One
crazy.
person that I was talking to,
Okay,
5
it's in
cents
both
a
my
book
groups.
she gets
Good, good.
What's that?
on
So,
Amazon.
That's horrible.
hmm.
Horrible.
That's highly lovely.
So,
Yes, it is.
yeah, as you can tell, I've taken a lot of notes in this book. He did have a little section on mortgage fraud in here as well, where they went over a Minnesota case that the I'm a Free Man channel also went over, related to that winning case in the 1960s. So, you want to see the book?
I need the ISBN number.
The
is what
ISBN
yeah.
number? Okay.
I'm lost without that.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of little nuggets. My book
Yeah,
review
that's-
on it is this Melvin Stamper really was passionate about liberty, freedom, and rights, justice, and exposing the corruption. I was told he died a couple of years ago. In fact, the repudiation of citizenship, the declaration of was it Declaration of State National? Is that what they say? Affidavit of repudiation and Declaration of State National Status. That was used in the beginning is a lot like David's, and David has said that was his. So, anyway, I thought that was interesting. Does anybody have any comments about their study with the Fruit from a Poisonous Tree book? You guys working your way through it?
we are reading together and we're still in the first chapter, which is lengthy.
Yeah, it's
And
a big
it's
chapter.
enough to make you furious.
Yes. Yeah, that's kind of what Annie told me too. She says, "Oh, that pisses me off." So, yeah.
It's an actual qualifies under a law and general book. I think it's a little more advanced reading, and I'm usually a quick read, but I'm finding that I'll read a couple of pages and I have to stop and go back and reread just to comprehend or retain.
Yeah.
So it's very informative, though. You can go right to the codes.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, I like that about the book too, is that the codes, it gives you a lot of the codes you can start studying. And I noticed the first time I read this book a year ago, it was almost like reading Greek to me at first. I agree. And now that I've applied myself for a year now, reading it the second time, guys, it gets better. Your neurons start picking up the codes and like understanding things. So don't give up if you feel like it's a little bit hard to understand, because I'm telling you that you'll start to understand things the more you apply yourself. So that's my experience. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, just that's one of the books I recommend for mastery training. And I think that's enough on that. I do want Bill to help teach us today. Like I said, this topic is not something I'm great at articulating yet, but I'm all ears, and I hope that you guys are too. And I think out of all the videos I've found on YouTube, this guy has a way of explaining it that it clicks and it makes sense. So let's go ahead and watch the first 20 minutes of his Foreclosure Freedom Part 1 video. It talks about the money system. Okay.
Could you slide the window to the right?
Slide the window. You mean, what do you mean?
That works.
Okay. Yeah, because they have to see it too.
Closed by the bankers, and everybody knows there's something stinks
That's
about
too
this
fast.
situation.
Let's slow him down.
Well, it would take only 25 minutes.
But nobody really goes deep enough to uncover the true fraud that's going on in the mortgage situation. So we all know that Wall Street bankers are greedy, and we know that bankers are greedy in general. Well, if you don't know, we're going to find out. So today we're going to do a kind of short version of the process that you would go through if you want to fight your foreclosure. I mean, if you're not willing to fight your foreclosure and you don't believe that you have any rights, then, you know, of course you can walk away from your house and, you know, no harm, no foul. But if you think that your house is worth fighting for, I'm going to show you why it's you that's been taken advantage of, not the bank. And so today we're going to start off with that, you know, we're probably not going to get through all the information, but, you know, we're going to discuss it in detail. The very first thing to examine and try to understand is the process that occurred when the alleged money was loaned to you in the first place. There are some good videos to watch on YouTube and elsewhere that discuss the aspect of money as it exists today in our society. I recommend you watching these videos. It's right here, Google Video Money Matrix. It's an hour and 10 minutes, and it's done by a CPA who discusses the fraud of the banking system. And then the next video that I recommend you watch would be Zeitgeist, the Addendum, which is 2 hours, and it's a whole expose on the money system. You can also watch Freedom to Fascism, which is an excellent film by Aaron Russo, which discusses the IRS, the fraud of the IRS and the banking institution, the Federal Reserve. Okay. And then the third thing would be The American Dream, which is a cartoon that's about 40 minutes, and it discusses the issues of how the money situation got to be the way it is today. And then, of course, we can always look to our favorite book, the Constitution of the United States, because all of the contractual arrangements that are made that can be, you know, can be justified as a rule of law spring from this one book. So if you can't make the case using this book, then it's void. So here we are in Section 10, Article 1, Section 10, and it says, no state shall enter into any treaty or alliance or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, which is what the police officers are operating under. They're actually privateers in admiralty going out and taking prize. And coin money, so they can't issue their own coins. Emit bills of credit. Now, what happens when they float a bond? Isn't that a bill of credit? Make anything but gold and silver coin, gold and silver coin, a tender in the payment of debts. So in other words, if you have a debt to somebody, you can't use, under the Constitution, you can't use anything other than gold and silver coin. So what I'm going to point out to you is that obviously that's not the law of the land today, and we have a Federal Reserve that is issuing money in the form of paper money, which is fiat currency. You know, these are a gold certificate, 1950.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then we have, this is what, you know, what money looked like at one point. Payable to the bearer on demand. In gold coin, right? Payable to the bearer in gold coin on demand. So if you had a $100 Federal Reserve note that was payable in gold coin on demand, the current rate even today is $42.2
This was 20 years
in
ago.
Federal Reserve notes. Gets you 1 ounce of gold. However, if you actually had an ounce of gold, it would cost you $1,400 to buy it. So the International Monetary Fund can raid the gold supply at Fort Knox and buy gold at $42 an ounce. Hey, can I do that? That would be the way to go.
We should not.
So you have to understand what money is, because if we don't start off the discussion, you know, discussing what real money is, then it's not going to make sense why the bank doesn't have a right to take your house. So let's look at the definition of money in Black's Law. Now here we have money in the usual and ordinary acceptation. It means gold, silver, or paper money, right? However, what they meant in paper money there is, you saw the paper money I was showing you before. That's paper money that's payable on demand in gold and silver, used as circulating medium of exchange and does not embrace notes. Now, the thing that you have in your pocket that has green ink and dead presidents on it is a Federal Reserve note. It says right on there. So if it's a Federal Reserve note and you can't call a note money, then how exactly does the bank consider that they loaned you any money when you didn't even get $500,000 worth of Federal Reserve notes delivered to you? You never got any money delivered to you. Your deed of trust says, for a loan I have received, and yet you never received anything. They might have put money in an escrow account on your behalf, but you never actually received anything. Okay, so the real question is, how did the bank loan you any money when you know full well you nor the seller received any gold or silver or paper that could be exchanged for gold or silver? We also know that the United States Constitution states in Article 1, Section 8 and 10 that only gold and silver is lawful tender. I showed you that. So what did the bank loan you? Did the bank loan you the depositor's money? Nope. They're barred from, I mean, if you put your money in the bank, you have a right to get your money back anytime you want. If you didn't have the right to get your money back anytime you want, that would be theft, you know, unless you wanted to call it a loan to the bank and you had some kind of an agreement. But you have an agreement that you can go down and take your money out anytime you want. Now, when you sign a signature card with the bank, you never agree to allow the bank to give your money to someone else, did you? Did they explain that to you? In fact, if the bank did loan your money to someone else, that would be theft without your approval. The bank loaned you credit. But whose credit? Did they loan you their credit? Can the bank loan the bank's credit? Let's see some court case sites. So once again, we go to our favorite, Black's Law. And we go, see, a bank may not lend its credit to another. So they didn't lend the depositor's money, and they can't lend their own credit, even though such a transaction turns out to have been a benefit to the bank. And in support of this, a list of cases might be cited, which would look like a catalog of ships. Norton Grocery Company versus People's Natural Bank, 144 SE 505 155, Virginia, VA 195. And it has been settled beyond controversy that a national bank under federal law, being limited in its powers and capacity, cannot lend its credit by guaranteeing the debts of another. All such contracts entered into by its officers are ultra vires, which means void and unlawful. Howard and Foster Company versus Citizens National Bank of Union, 133 South Carolina, 202 130 SE 759, and that was from 1926. So there we go. The bank can't lend the depositors credit or money, and they can't lend their credit or money. So the only thing they could have lent you is your own credit. There's nothing to stop you from giving them a check, them honoring it, and using your own credit to give you a loan. Now we see that the bank did not loan any of its depositors money and did not loan any of their credit. So how did they come up with the cashier's check that went to the escrow account to pay the seller? Let's look at the description of the money creation process from the Federal Reserve's own book, Modern Money Mechanics, page 3. Money Mechanics, and this book was written by the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. And here we have what makes money valuable. In the United States, neither paper currency nor deposits have value as commodities. Intrinsically, a dollar bill is just a piece of paper. That's a dollar bill, but a dollar is specifically defined by the 1792 Coinage Act as 371 grains of silver. Okay, here we have the Coinage Act of 1792, and as you can see, this is off Wikipedia. But if you look it up, you'll see that it's true. Anyway, this Coinage Act has never been repealed. And it's the Coinage Act or the Mint Act. And we see that it's the history, authorization of free coinage, and here's the definitions of what each thing should be. So an eagle, that's gold, would be 247 grains of pure or 270 grains of standard gold. And then a dollar is, $1 is 371 and 4/16 grains of pure or 416 grains of standard silver. And here we have a Morgan silver dollar, and you can see this one was made in 1888. It's made in 1888. That is a silver dollar, just after the Civil War. Anyway, that's what real money looks like, I believe. Anyway, so what then makes these instruments, checks, paper money, and coins acceptable at face value in payment for all debts and other monetary uses? See, they're the ones that are suggesting that they have some validity. Mainly, it's the confidence of the people they have in the money system. It's the confidence that people have in the money system? No, it's not the confidence. You can't ask for gold in any contract. You're denied the right to ask to be paid in gold. So it's not the confidence, it's the fact that the government enforces it. The actual process of money creation takes place primarily in banks. Oh my God. And you thought the federal government created money. Or that, the miner who dragged gold out of the hillside created money. No, now we know it takes place primarily in banks. And it says, these liabilities are customers' accounts. They increase when customers deposit currency in checks and when the proceeds of loans made by the banks are credited to the borrower's accounts. So the amount of money on the books increases when banks make loans to borrowers. So they make the money from thin air,
right?
And the money in the bank increases when they make the loans. You don't believe that? Transaction deposits are the modern counterpart of banknotes. It was a small step from printing notes to making book entries crediting deposits of borrowers, which the borrowers in turn could spend by writing checks, thereby printing their own money. Oh my God, you just created your own money when you went down and signed the promissory note. Only they didn't actually tell you that, and they didn't give you a deposit slip, but it says right there that a small step from printing notes to making book entries crediting deposits not of checks from working, but